Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Murphy from the Upton Town Library. For the month of April, the Teen and Tween group is working on the theme of library appreciation. So one of the things we're going to talk about is the concept of a shelfie. So what is a shelfie, you may ask? It's a chance to show off your shelf of books at home and tell us all about you. So today I'm coming to you from my home and I'm going to share some of the shelves of books I keep at my house. So let's take a look. So you'd think working at a library that my house is full of books, but it really isn't. I have a few special collections that I have. My kids like to collect books that are special to them, so I'll hopefully show you some of those. The first bookcase I want to show you, first shelf rather, is my cookbook shelf. So it has a couple different things here. I like to look at cookbooks and get inspiration from them. Some of them are diet cookbooks, just for giving some health twists to food dishes. But my favorite one on this shelf probably is The Joy of Cooking. And this is one that I got as, I think, an engagement present when my husband and I got engaged. And it's very worn. It's got a lot of love and favorite pages for sure. It's coming apart. But I do have this book here because I like to use it as a reference. And it's a great go-to book. I also have some fun books. This one is called Crowding the Plate, and it's a Red Sox cookbook with recipes from Red Sox players. I've got a Star Wars cookbook, which is fun to look at as well. I've got, this cookbook is from my grandmother. This was her church cookbook, so it's got some really good dessert recipes that we have in our family. I grew up in Marlborough, so there was a Marlborough Centennial cookbook that the city there put together. Let's see what else. Memorial School. My kids went to Memorial School, so this is one that they did as a fundraiser, and I contributed a recipe to that. This was a college cookbook for the college that I attended, so they did some recipes there. And then I've got a couple baking cookbooks, which I really like. This one has a really great pinwheel cookie recipe that my family enjoys that I make, and this one probably just for the chocolate chip cookie recipe, but they're a lot of fun. So I like collecting those, and I have them on the shelf next to my my recipe box. It's got a lot of great recipes that I want to share with my kids someday. And there's one more cookbook up here. It doesn't fit on that shelf. And it's called Cooking Traditions from the Heart. And this is a book that my mom made. So she put a picture of the two of us in there. And it's just full of family recipes that everyone in our family has enjoyed at one time or another. So that's my cookbook shelf. Right above it, I have a shelf of, no, not just Star Wars and Lego books, but I've got a lot of academic books over here for helping my kids. So things for algebra, calculus, French, physics, all kinds of SAT prep classes that they've taken. So things to use as resources. When they were younger, we had dictionaries and things like that that were at their level, but these are always here on hand just in case they need some help with something. So those are the first couple shelves I wanted to show you. So since I don't keep a lot of books in my house, the books that I do keep tend to have some kind of sentimental value. So the shelf I want to show you now is books that either I've collected that were given to me or just things that I've collected that meant something to me. So the first one I have here is just a book about cats because we do own 2 cats in our home. So that's fun. This book I received when I was a teacher many years ago, and it's called Who Moved My Cheese? I know a lot of schools have had this book on their summer reading lists, and it just talks a lot about change and how to deal with change in your life. When I was a teacher, we had a reorganization in our school district, and every teacher was moved to a different building one year. It was a major, major overhaul for the school district, and it was a lot of change for everyone to deal with. So this book was given to me by our principal, and I just think it has a lot of good advice and things to keep in mind when dealing with change in your life. So I tend to use a lot of the things I learned from that. This book was a book written by an author I used to enjoy reading. It's Nicholas Sparks, called Dear John. And I kept this because I got to meet the author of this book. And he had a book signing in Framingham many years ago, and I went to that and I got to meet him. This one is a book that was given to me by a friend of mine, and the book's called Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna, and it's about 2 friends who were friends all the way from when they were young to when they were grown up. And this was given to me by one of my childhood friends, and it just means a lot to me, so I've kept that. This book here is called How to Succeed in College. It was given to me when I attended college by a cousin of mine, and it had lots of good tips inside, and she wrote all kinds of little notes. And I keep it because She's since passed, so it kind of has sentimental value for that reason, but it also has a lot of good tips that I've been able to pass along to my kids. This is a book I just got for my husband. It's called U.S. Army Natick Laboratories, The Science Behind the Soldier, and this is because he works at the Natick Labs, and this was a great book for him to enjoy reading, so this is just something for him. And I have a couple books here that are biographies about Laura Bush and her husband, George W. Bush, and this is because, gosh, I don't remember when, but I got to meet Mrs. Bush at the White House with my husband, and it was a trip that was very memorable. We went for his job, and I got to meet her, and she was very, very, very nice. So those are just some sentimental books on my bookshelf. I don't have many books from when I was a child, but the ones I do have are pretty meaningful. So I've got a bunch of Richard Scarry books here, because Richard Scarry books were very, very much a staple in our house growing up. So you can see these are all taped and had a lot of love in them. My brother and I used to always enjoy reading these books and looking for Lowly Worm and Goldbug. So they're kind of dated, but they are very sentimental to me. I've got some nursery rhyme books, especially this one, The Real Mother Goose. I think it's still being published, and we used to read this all the time for nursery rhymes. This is one of the first cookbooks I had. So Betty Crocker cookbook for boys and girls. And you can see the pages are falling apart, and it's a very old book. One of the things I enjoyed going to the library and checking out was the Ginny books. So these are books I would get out all the time from the Marlborough Public Library and read over and over again. These are written by Catherine Woolley. So we have Ginny and the Cooking Contest, probably my all-time favorite. Ginny's Babysitting Business, and Ginny and the Mystery Doll. Kind of creepy on that one, but this one would have been my all-time favorite. Of course, I grew up with the All of a Kind family, and then just some picture books that I've liked to collect. The Little Red Hen, Day at the Beach, Richard Scarry. We've got Raggedy Ann and Andy book, Night Before Christmas, and another cookbook, The Great Treat Cookbook. So some of those are, most of those are from when I was young, but I definitely kept those for sentimental reasons. So here we have some Star Wars books. These are the kind of books my oldest son likes to read, so he's just started collecting them. He's been a reader for a long time. He usually likes to read nonfiction, but the later part of his teenage years, he's enjoyed reading science fiction. So Star Wars has been it for him, and he started collecting them. And he's got a few of these at college with him too, and he's just starting to grow his collection. So the next shelf I want to share with you is actually a comic book collection. This is my middle son. He enjoys reading and collecting comic books. In fact, he's an illustration major in college, so comic books are pretty important to him. So I want to show you, he's got two giant boxes of them here, so let's take a look. So the first one, I'm going to open up. I've taken off the shelf. And he collects these very seriously, so they have to be in pristine condition. They're usually wrapped. They've got dividers. So I'm going to be very, very gentle while showing these to you. So here's one he's got here for Wolverine. And you can see it's wrapped in a package. Let's see. He's got dividers, so he's got some X-Men ones. Let's see what else we've got in here. These are all Marvel comics in here, X-Men. A lot of these you'd see at the library too, so let's see if there's anything different that you haven't seen. What's the last one he's got? Ooh, Doctor Who. It's another one of his favorites from a while back. So we've got those. Let's see what's in the other box, rather. And these are special comic book boxes. Ooh, comic book boxes that he uses to do his collecting, so they're just the right size. This one is kind of you can see it change. There we go. So this is called Doomsday Clock. And he's always on the lookout for different covers too, because some of these come with different covers, even though they're the same issue. So here's one. I got Batman. And you can see he's got quite a few he collects. So let's see what's at the end here. This is Justice League United. So this is his collection of comic books, and that's what's on his shelf usually. The last shelf I want to show you is what my daughter collects. Now, she's in high school and she enjoys fantasy books. So she's got a lot of the Cassandra Clare books, Rainbow Rowell. This is a whole series right here. Some Supernatural books. She likes the show Supernatural. Down here, she has started to collect the Rick Riordan books. So I'll show you those. And classic dystopian books like The Hunger Games and The Maze Runner. So as you can see, everyone in my family enjoys something different, even Mr. Murphy. And that's what's on our shelves. So I hope you enjoyed those shelfies that I shared with you today. If you'd like to make your own shelfie and share it with me, you can email it to me at lmurphy@cwmars.org. We'd love to see what's on your shelf. Good luck.